Alright, now coming towards the equity and liability section of the consolidated statement of financial position. And I told you that the equity shares should be of the parent only. No equity shares of the subsidiary. Similarly, the share premium of the parent only, and there should be no premium of the subsidiary as well. The retained earnings represents the group retained earnings, and again that is being calculated for the parent. And then you have the non-controlling interest. Now, what is this non-controlling interest? Most of the times, subsidiary is partially occupied, acquired. Let's assume the parent has acquired 80% of the shares in the subsidiary. 80%. Now the subsidiary has the 100% shares. What about the rest of the 20% which is not acquired by the parent? The percentage which is not acquired by the parent, here in this example it is 20%, is known as the non-controlling interest. Previously, like many years back, it used to be called as the minority interest. So if the parent has acquired, let's assume 70% of the shares of the subsidiary, the remaining 30% is known as the non-controlling interest. Now, why we are having this non-controlling interest in the consolidated statement of financial position? The simple answer to this question is that we are consolidating the 100% assets and liabilities of the subsidiary. We didn't apportion it. We are just consolidating 100%, even if the parent is having 80% of the shares. Like when the parent has acquired 80% share of the subsidiary, they should apportion the 80% assets only. They should apportion the 80% liabilities only, but we are not doing that. We are consolidating the 100% assets and liabilities of the subsidiary. Now, if we are consolidating the 100% assets and liabilities of the subsidiary, then you have to show the portion within that consolidated statement of financial position which does not belong to you. That is why you are presenting that thing within the equity. So, within the equity and between the equity and the liabilities. So, this non-controlling interest is the portion which is not acquired by the parent. And why we are recording this in the consolidated statement of financial position? Because we are consolidating 100% subsidiary. We should not have done this because we have the partial acquisition. But because we are consolidating 100% subsidiary, and this is the right treatment to do so, that is why we have to present the portion which does not belong to us. So this portion does not belong to us should be presented within the consolidated statement of financial position. All right. So there's one element that you need to understand is the share exchange. Although this is very rare when it comes to the F3 exam, but I have seen the questions in your exam kit. That is why I have to explain it. When the parent is acquiring the subsidiary, they will be paying the subsidiary, and that payment which the parent is doing to the subsidiary is known as the consideration. Now this consideration can be of many types, but for you it can be the cash, which is the payment made by the parent to the subsidiary, or another form is the share exchange. Like the parent is acquiring the share of the subsidiary, and in exchange they are giving their shares. Now this happens in the real life, that one company is acquiring the shares of another company and they are giving them their own shares in the consideration. On 1st June 2060, Premier acquired 80% of the equity capital of the Sanford. So this is the P and this is the S. So the P's equity is 12,000, the S capital is 5,000, and one share worth $1. So there are total 5,000 shares of subsidiary. The consideration consisted of two elements: a share exchange of 3 shares in Premier for every 5 acquired shares in Sanford, and 800,000 cash. So you see, in the consideration they have two elements. First is the cash, which is 800, taking in 000. Another is the share exchange, which we have to calculate. The share issue has not yet recorded by the Premier. At the date of acquisition, the shares in Premier had a market value of $5 each. Now, how many shares the parent is giving to the subsidiary? It is written a share exchange of 3 shares in Premier for every 5 acquired shares. How many shares we have acquired of the subsidiary? Subsidiary has total 5,000 shares. We have acquired 80% of it. And for every 5 shares, we are giving them the 3 shares. The 3 shares for every 5 shares. So the fraction is 3 by 5. When you take 5,000, which is the total number of shares of the subsidiary, and you multiply it by 80%, it gives you 4,000. It gives you 4,000. Now this 4,000 is the shares acquired. Now for every 5 shares acquired, we are giving them 3 shares. Fine. So when you solve this, 4,000 multiplied by 3 divided by 5, it gives you 2,400 shares. Now these are the shares. How much these shares worth? So we have to take the share price of the parent, which is given, multiply by $5. So 2,400 multiplied by $5 gives you 12,000. So what we have total paid to them was 12,800. 800 in the form of cash and 12,000 in the form of the shares. Remember this working. First of all, take the share of the subsidiary multiplied by the percentage acquired. It gives you the number of shares which the parent has acquired in the subsidiary. Then multiply it by the fraction. It can be anything: 1 for 5 shares, 2 for 5 shares, 1 for 3 shares, whatever is mentioned in the exam. And then multiply it by the share price of the parent, and it gives you the total amount which the parent has given to the subsidiary in relation to the share exchange. Like the share which the parent has given to the subsidiary worth this much amount. So this is something important to understand. Then you have the non-current liabilities. It's a simple thing. Take the non-current liabilities of the parent plus the subsidiary. Then you have the current liabilities of parent plus subsidiary. And do you remember what we did in the current assets? We passed the entry that if the parent and subsidiary selling to each other, they have recorded the receivables and payables in their books. And based on the single entity concept, we have to eliminate it. So we eliminated one balance from the receivables by crediting the receivables, and we have to eliminate one balance from the payable by debiting the payables. So this is the same entry: debit payables, credit receivables. Then you have the overdraft, then you have the taxation, and it gives you the total equity and liabilities. So just giving you the revision that we have discussed all the components of the consolidated statement of financial position. We started with the property, plant and equipment, parent plus subsidiary plus fair value adjustments, then goodwill, which is the positive goodwill, and then take all the investment but not the one which is being made by the parent in the subsidiary. And then if you have the 20 to 50% investment in any other company which is known as associate, you have to record a figure over here. Then we discussed the current assets, that inventory, parent plus subsidiary minus unrealized profit. Then we discussed trade receivables, parent plus subsidiary minus intragroup receivables. Then bank balance, parent plus subsidiary. And then we discussed the equity section. It should be of the parent only. And then we discussed the liability section. So these are all the components of the statement of financial position. And now we'll be going through the workings, that in order to calculate these figures we have to do some certain workings.